In today's video, I'm reviewing Gabriella Whited's video titled "If You Bloat, Then Watch This: How I Got Rid of My Extreme Bloating SIBO." Roll the titles.
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before I jump into the video, just a quick reminder that I'm now offering the SIBO, organic acid, stool tests and consult via my website. So if you have any health or digestive issues, then consider taking these tests as they will provide a lot of very useful information upon which you can start making informed decisions and then start getting your health back on track. And on that bombshell, to the video. So Gabriella is a YouTuber with over 1 million subscribers, and about a year ago she developed severe bloating and was subsequently diagnosed with SIBO. So let's see what she has to say in her video.
Unlike a lot of videos I've seen on YouTube, this will actually help and give you guys solutions instead of saying, oh, just drink green tea.
Okay, so to begin with, there are many causes of gas and bloating. So it could be certain infections, dysbiosis issues, pancreatic enzyme problems, bile issues, and so on. So the first thing that I would suggest you do if you have significant gas and bloating that is impacting on your quality of life is to reach out to an experienced healthcare professional and establish what is causing your issues. Often there is a simple root cause for these types of issues, so don't suffer needlessly in silence.
So before we start off, I'm just gonna say the facts and then we'll get into the details, because I know people, if you are suffering the way I did, you just wanna know answers.
Okay, so while it is very good that Gabriella is making a video about SIBO, and with over 341,000 views, it will certainly help raise awareness of the issue. But, and this is a very big but, she has to be careful though in the language that she is using. So she found a solution that worked for her, and that is great, but SIBO is a very individualized issue. So SIBO can have many different root causes, and we will discuss these in a short while. So it could be problems with gut motility or stomach acid issues, for example. So until you fix your own root causes of SIBO, the issue is likely to come back repeatedly. And this is why you will often read horror stories online of people who can't get rid of their gas and bloating or SIBO issues. They take antibiotics or natural antimicrobials to get rid of the infection, but because they haven't dealt with the underlying cause of their problems, the issues keep coming back. So I personally don't like Gabriella suggesting that her video will be the solution for her viewers to get rid of their gas, bloating or SIBO. Her viewers will have their own unique challenges, which will be different from Gabriella's root causes of SIBO.
So I had SIBO, which is a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth.
Okay, so just to clarify, SIBO is not a form of IBS. SIBO is often a driver of IBS, but it's not a form of IBS that Gabriella suggested on her screen there. So for those of you who aren't aware, SIBO stands for Small Intestinal Bacterial Overgrowth, and it simply means that you have an abnormal accumulation of bacteria within the small intestines. So the small intestines is where you absorb your nutrients, so when you have high amounts of bacteria there and eat fibre and carbohydrates, the bacteria will ferment the fibre, which produces a number of different gases such as hydrogen or methane, for example. High amounts of gas can obviously cause gas and bloating, acid reflux, cramping and many other digestive issues that can make your life a nightmare. So quite simply, for many people, if you treat the SIBO infection correctly, then often the digestive issues will go away fairly quickly.
Things that helped me was Xifaxan. I went to the gastro doctor. He gave me 150 milligrams of Xifaxan, which is an antibiotic that kills the bacteria.
So rifaximin is one of a number of different strategies that can be used to treat SIBO. So just be aware you don't necessarily need to take antibiotics to fix the problem. If you aren't keen on antibiotics, then you can take natural antimicrobials such as allicin, berberine or grapefruit seed extract. But it very much depends on the root cause and severity of your issues. Now, the other thing that I quickly want to mention is that Gabriella said that she took a dose of 150 milligram of rifaximin. Now, I'm assuming that was a mistake and she meant that each pill was 150 milligram, because a total of 150 milligram dose is an extremely low dose. So for a moderate to severe case of SIBO, that dose of rifaximin wouldn't even tickle the sides of the problem. Rifaximin doses used to treat SIBO are usually in the range of 1600 milligram per day over 14 days. And in many occasions, a person would need 2 to 3 rounds of rifaximin to fix the issue, in conjunction with fixing the root cause of the SIBO.
Also, intermittent fasting really helped me. I ate from 7 to 11 p.m. and also I followed the Candida diet.
So yes, intermittent fasting can help some people with SIBO, but again, it's not a necessity to treat SIBO correctly. And in terms of Gabriella being put on a Candida diet, I don't obviously know the background to her case, and she doesn't provide any evidence as to why she was put on the Candida diet, but again, this is not a necessity to treat SIBO. There is obviously mass hysteria around SIBO and Candida that you need to be on very low carbohydrate diets to fix these problems. Over the last year alone, I've probably helped 1,500 to 2,000 people with SIBO type of issues, and I would say less than 5 to 10 of these people have needed to go on a very low carbohydrate diet to fix the issues. If you treat SIBO correctly, then you probably won't need to go on a low carbohydrate diet, a low FODMAP diet, or even a Candida diet. And contrary to these diets, I would say that there is growing evidence to suggest that by restricting fibre during the treatment phase, it can lead people to having potentially higher relapse rates further down the line.
2 months, I was bloating 2 to 3 days every week. Didn't matter what I ate, didn't matter what I did. I could eat nothing, I could eat normal meals, I could drink water, and I would bloat. I was depressed, I had anxiety, I didn't want to get out of my bed, I would sleep the whole day. I lost weight, I just looked horrible. So yeah, I just felt awful.
So absolutely, SIBO can cause a number of issues in the body, from weight loss or weight gain, and in some people, nutritional deficiencies, anxiety, depression, joint problems, and even things like brain fog. So by the sound of it, and I'm not diminishing Gabriella's experience with SIBO, but it appears that her case was a small to moderate case. I deal with many people with SIBO that after every meal, they are having severe gas and bloating and other symptoms that Gabriella listed.
Basically, one day I woke up and I was just bloated. I don't know why. It just felt like I swallowed a watermelon. I had extreme pains. I had nausea, fatigue, vomiting, constipation, constipated for like a week and a half. Just awful pains, never hungry, just always felt awful. So if you guys are experiencing that, please continue watching this video.
So there are a lot of different causes of SIBO. In a lot of people, it's antibiotic use. For others, it's low stomach acid, undiagnosed celiac disease, prior bowel surgeries, gut motility issues, ileocecal valve dysfunction, stress, poor diets, other medications, and even pre- and type 2 diabetes.
People told me, oh, do the gluten-free, do dairy-free for a week, do all that stuff. None of that stuff helped. I did it. If you guys are wondering, just do it for a week just to know if you're intolerant to these things. I don't know. Some people have flare-ups with certain foods. From my experience, it had nothing to do with what I ate. I could, and I feel like that's kind of how it is for a lot of people, but they just say, oh, just eat this and that and it will help. Like, no. The food you eat cannot kill the bad bacteria in your stomach.
So absolutely spot on there. Dietary modification is only a very small piece of the jigsaw. You will ultimately need to take either antibiotics or natural antimicrobials to fix the issue. Diet alone cannot fix a SIBO problem. The only caveat to that is something like an elemental diet, where you would drink a nutritional shake for about 2 to 3 weeks in an attempt to starve the bacteria. This to me would seem like hell on earth, and there is very little evidence on relapse rates, so I don't ever recommend this approach. On top of this, these nutritional shakes are extremely expensive and taste like death, so adherence rates tend to be lower than someone using antibiotics or natural antimicrobials.
And people don't know this, and they suffer with this for years. Like, I can't imagine that, because it's honestly the worst thing ever.
Again, spot on. I speak to so many people who have been dealing with IBS symptoms for many years, and their doctors have simply palmed them off saying that they have IBS and there is little that they can do about it. In the UK, for example, there are 11 to 12 million people walking around with IBS, and we know that anywhere from 60 to 84% of those with IBS have SIBO as the underlying cause. So if you deal with a SIBO, the gas bloating and IBS symptoms will either significantly improve or disappear completely. So Gabriella is indeed correct. Don't suffer unnecessarily and don't let your doctor palm you off.
One thing though that is true about the food is like the sugar, the bad bacteria really feeds off the sugar. So I did the Candida diet, which means I didn't eat any sugar at all, not even fruit.
So those statements for a large proportion of people make absolutely no sense. Often SIBO infections reside lower down in the small intestines next to the ileocecal valve that separates the small and large intestines. So most sugars within fruits are simple sugars and absorbed higher up in the small intestines. So to blanket term and say that it's imperative that everyone goes on a low carbohydrate diet is very naive indeed. So if the sugars and carbs that you are eating are absorbed higher up in the smaller intestines and are not actually hitting the area of the small intestines with the SIBO infection, then why would you need to pull carbs out of your diet?
So after 2 months of suffering for so long, I finally went to the doctor, and he said, you have SIBO. You need to take the hydrogen breath test and the methane breath test. Make sure that you take 2. Because there's 2 types of SIBO, like one is the constipation one is the diarrhea one. I had the constipation one, which was less common. So yeah, just make sure that you take both of the tests, and also you're gonna send in a fecal sample.
So just to simplify what Gabriella was saying there, in order to test for SIBO, you want to take a lactulose breath test, as this is the gold standard test. You also want a lactulose breath test that includes both hydrogen and methane, and you want a test that is 3 hours long. So on screen now, you will see a SIBO test result. So everything before 100 minutes represents the stomach and small intestines, and everything after 100 minutes is where the lactulose solution travels into the colon or large intestines. So for example, if you only take a 2-hour test and you have constipation or slow gut motility, then you may be cutting off an important part of the test where the lactulose hits the SIBO infection, and this will give you a false negative test result. So ensure that you take a 3-hour lactulose breath test that covers both hydrogen and methane.
But after I did that, they said, yeah, you have SIBO, which is what we thought, and they gave me the Xifaxan for 2 weeks. I had 1,500 milligrams 3 times a day. When I was on the medication, I felt awful, and I was still worried that it wouldn't work because after 4 days, I saw no difference, and I read that you were supposed to see a difference by then, but it's different for everyone, so just don't feel stressed out because I was so stressed out about it. Just take the medication, breathe, and the results will come.
Again, I think Gabriella is spot on, and I know it's easier said than done, but don't stress about it. If you treat SIBO correctly, within a short period of time, the gas bloating and digestive issues will go, and after a while, this will be a distant blur. And the most important thing is not to read the doom and gloom of the internet. These people who are not able to get rid of their SIBO infections are generally because they are either self-treating or the people treating them have no real experience with SIBO. If you treat SIBO correctly, then relapse rates tend to be very low. Okay, that was a good video from Gabriella. She was slightly overzealous with putting her experiences on other people, but I understand why she was like that, as she simply wants to help other people in a similar situation to her. But it's important to remember that your root cause of SIBO will be unique to you. Therefore, it's so important to work with a healthcare professional that will test you correctly and then produce a treatment plan for you to follow that will address all of the reasons why your SIBO started in the first place. So that's the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed, and remember to look after your body because it's the only place you have to live. And I'll see you next time.